Donna and I are really here to set the stage for this conference, and we're really excited to see a lot of familiar faces and many new faces as well. So like Liz had mentioned, ABLE is a cross-sectoral community of practice working to reduce poverty through financial empowerment. There's no membership or sign up to be part of this community of practice. By simply being here, caring about the topic, and working tirelessly like you do to improve the lives of low-income people, you're in. So congratulations. And although financial empowerment efforts have been going on for decades, the actual conference started back in 2009 in Edmonton, which is now the Alberta Asset Building Collaborative. And then the torch was passed to Seed in Winnipeg 2 years later in 2011, and then finally to Calgary in 2013, where Momentum and the Financial Empowerment Collaborative hosted the last conference. And it was at this last conference that we realized that if we were going to truly build a financial empowerment field, we needed to get organized. And so that's where we launched the ABLE National Steering Committee. And if you're interested in the steering committee, there's more information in the back in terms of who are the members and a little bit about what this committee is about. And we're going to have a session tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Grab breakfast, coffee, if you want to join us to find a little bit more about this committee and how you can connect to this work. So what are we trying to do at ABLE? The ultimate objective of ABLE is to improve the financial health and well-being of people living in poverty. Internationally, people are still trying to figure out how we can best define financial well-being and what are those ways to build it. Many of you might be more familiar with terms like financial capability, financial inclusion, financial health, financial literacy. We felt that financial well-being was a term that could include all of these concepts. And we think this framing is helpful as well because it's also being used by the National Financial Literacy Strategy, which has used financial well-being as the ultimate objective of that strategy. So we know that the pathways to prosperity for all Canadians include access to education, employment, entrepreneurship, ability to save and build assets. What we need to figure out is how we can ensure these pathways to prosperity are available to all Canadians. As a community of practice, we're trying to figure out how we can help Canadians who are at different levels of financial well-being to achieve their goals. So how do we plan to do this? ABLE really focuses on an integrated set of financial empowerment interventions proven to improve the financial outcomes of Canadians living in poverty. There's 5 pillars to this framework that we use. One is access to appropriate financial information, education, and counseling. Helping people to access income-boosting benefits and credits, getting people's incomes up to a base level. Providing safe and affordable financial products and services for individuals. Helping people access savings and asset-building opportunity. And ensuring consumer awareness and protection. These approaches enable low-income households to build income, financial wealth, and well-being. During the breakouts over today, you're going to hear more about exciting initiatives around financial empowerment right across the country. And we've designed each session to have an engagement component so that we can share and learn from each other. But despite these amazing programs that you're going to hear over the course of the conference, we still have a ways to go to build a truly sustainable financial empowerment field. This is still an emerging field, although many of us have been at this for a very long time. Financial empowerment initiatives are unevenly available to individuals across the country, and funding for these programs are hard to come by. Although there's been some funders who have really stepped up to this work, and a lot of them have been sponsoring this conference, there's still very few dedicated streams of funding to support this work. We're having a specific breakout tomorrow on this issue, specifically around the funding gap. We also know that we have a ways to go until mainstream financial products, services, and advice truly meet the needs of low-income individuals. And we're really excited that there's so many individuals from financial institutions here today to talk about what they're doing to meet these needs and what more can be done. And as we all know, many of our government programs and policies are not always designed to help individuals to build assets and greater economic security. In fact, many programs require individuals to become more financially vulnerable before they actually qualify for the programs that are there to help them. We know that in order to help individuals to move forward, we need to make sure that policies and our government programs are in line with supporting financial well-being. If people are interested in the policy and research dimension of this work, we're also going to have a breakout tomorrow on that very topic. But But a great program, a great policy, financial products, a new funding stream alone aren't going to get us to where we need to be. There's no silver bullet in this work. To build a truly sustainable field, we need to work across all sectors and continually collaborate and innovate around this work. It's going to take leadership, because doing things differently is hard to do, and it's going to take champions across the country to move this work forward relentlessly, as you've been doing. And we also need to be working at all different levels, locally, regionally, and nationally. So tomorrow we're going to be rolling up our sleeves and discussing how we can begin to align our efforts around and support greater impact, scale, and sustainability of our financial empowerment efforts. But now I'd like to pass the mic over to my ABLE colleague, Donna, so she can share a little bit around what ABLE is and how Calgary's been tackling these issues and blazing trails for us all. Donna.
Thank you. When he calls me his ABLE colleague, I'm sort of wondering what that means. I just want to tell you a little bit about the power of gatherings like these and what that might mean for your community when you go home. So for us in Calgary, the financial empowerment journey really started at a CFED conference in Washington, D.C. in 2012. So CFED is kind of the Prosper counterpart in the U.S., on steroids. It's huge. It's inspiring. We follow a lot of their work and research. And we were at this conference. Liz was there. Courtney was there. And I think that was the first time we'd ever heard of this financial empowerment framework and the power that it had to change people's lives, and that this framework had been replicated in 11 other U.S. cities besides the inaugural New York City. And I remember coming home from that conference and thinking, wow, we could do this here in Calgary. If it works in all these big cities in the U.S., I know it can work here. And I'll bet that Prosper Canada was thinking exactly the same thing, that this is something we could do here. And so we had sort of put up our hand. I work with Momentum, and we're part of a financial literacy collaborative that had been operating for about 2 years. And we put up our hand and said, we'll host the ABLE conference in 2013. And so it was probably Liz Mulholland that had the most to do with attracting the right financial empowerment experts to come to Calgary, to be the keynote speakers, to meet with our local politicians and bureaucrats and local organizations. And that was the fuel that ignited the activity that followed in Calgary. Before that conference, we already had a financial literacy collaborative that was working on a lot of things, and we had just launched a municipal poverty reduction strategy where one of its goals was that every Calgarian would have the income and assets it needed to thrive. And so we had these two things, and we didn't have anything that really mobilized and connected until we came across this financial empowerment framework, and we thought, this is it. This is what's going to allow us to help build the steps. This ABLE logo is designed like this to show the steps that it takes to build a person's journey out of poverty, and we just found it. You know, I've told 1,000 people this before, but in case there's anybody here that hasn't heard this, the Tragically Hip has a line in one of their songs, and it says, "I can't draw, but I can trace." And that's what this framework allowed us to do. It's evidence-based, it's research-based, it's proven to produce amazing results in 12 major U.S. cities, so why couldn't it do it in our city? And so because of the people that came to that conference, and we had our Minister of Human Services came and spent most of one day with us. We had lots of local people from our city, from the United Way, from the province of Alberta, and they all got inspired and thought, yeah, this is a great framework. And so since that conference, we've done some pretty amazing things in Calgary. Because we had these pre-existing conditions, just like you do in your communities, you already have a lot on the go, and this could be what takes you to that next level. But since then, we've created a financial empowerment leadership team comprised of the United Way, the City of Calgary, the Province of Alberta, Momentum, Bow Valley College, Vibrant Communities Calgary, and we worked together. We created a 4-year operational strategy. We created 4-year goals, and we created goals up until 2023. Which is the timeline on our municipal poverty reduction strategy, where we aim to reduce poverty by 50% by the year 2023. So everything that we did in financial empowerment, we aligned it to our poverty reduction strategy, and that's really what attracted resources and attention, and we mobilized community organizations, and there's work going on in every one of the 5 pillars of financial empowerment. We have leading partners. The United Way has been an amazing support in terms of providing secretariat support to this collaborative since 2012, and financial empowerment is their 2015 campaign theme. So they've really rallied behind us. The City of Calgary is behind us, and we've done some amazing things. And by 2023, our goal is to help over 45,000 Calgarians through initiatives related to financial empowerment. Our goal is to help low-income Calgarians pay down $7.14 million in debt. And to help 24, wow, maybe I just spoke a truth there, okay? And to help 2,400 Calgarians save over $1 million in savings that they didn't have before. So I guess my message in all of that is that great things can happen. You know, Gloria Steinem says that hope is a form of planning. And if you walk away from this conference with a little bit of hope, then that's the beginning of your plan that you can take back to your community and look at what you've got and start from there. And 2 years from now, you might be telling an amazing story of your own that we'll just add to this big national collection of stories that we're producing all across Canada. So be prepared to be inspired and start your planning here.
So thank you so much, Donna. You've raised the bar high for us all. But you've helped us show what's possible also through collaboration of different sectors and working around a common goal. We know that there's so many similar stories in every community of people that are doing this work tirelessly. And in aggregate, these stories start to tell a really compelling and interesting national story. And to continue to tell that national story, the ABLE Steering Committee has set some ABLE targets that we want to share with you and get your feedback over the coming days and months. These targets are very ambitious and will take the collective efforts of all sectors to be successful. However, we're an ambitious group, and we're dedicated to achieving the following goals by 2020. So I'm going to walk you through these goals. And they're broken down by each of the different pillars. So the first one is by 2020, expand financial information, education, coaching, and problem solving to 1 million Canadians on low income. And that's not a billion, that's 1 million. How we're going to get there, we've highlighted a few ways. Is really what you're already doing. It's integrating this work into your social services. It's governments finding ways to weave this into relevant policy and program frameworks, and financial institutions working to build the financial information and products that low-income individuals need to move forward. We also have a goal to leverage an additional 100 million in income for eligible Canadians living in poverty by facilitating their access to tax filing and government benefits. And we think this is actually easily attainable. This is going to happen through programs like the Community Volunteer Income Tax Program. A lot of frontline organizations are starting to provide support to help people access benefits. There is huge amounts of money sitting on the table that people are eligible for that aren't getting. And governments are starting to play a larger role in terms of helping individuals access these benefits. As you can see from the Liberal platform, there was a mention of to proactively contact Canadians who are entitled to but are not receiving tax benefits. Really interesting to put the onus on government to make sure that people are aware of the benefits they're eligible for and accessing them. We also want to work with and support all financial institutions to adopt strategies and implement substantive changes to better meet the financial literacy, banking, and advice needs of customers and members living on low income. And there's a lot of great work that's going on in this area that you're going to hear about over the next couple of days. Really great partnerships between financial institutions and social services to figure out how to best meet those needs. financial institutions continuously innovating, because this work is not easy, to figure out how to better meet the needs of low-income individuals. And there's an organization in the US called the Center for Financial Services Innovation who's create these really awesome principles that financial institutions might think about when designing products and services around embracing inclusion, building trust, promoting success, and creating opportunities. For savings and asset building, we've actually developed two goals, really around building off of some products that many of you are already aware of, like the RESP. And within the RESP, there's the Canada Learning Bond, and the uptake for the Canada Learning Bond right now sits at about 30%, and we're really striving to move that up to 40% so that individuals can start saving for their kids' education. We also want to increase the number of registered disability savings plan by 100,000. That's actually doubling it. So it's a stretch goal, but I think we can achieve it. And we're interested in working with and partnering with all provinces to enact fringe financial services regulation that more effectively protects consumers. And step one is really understanding and doing some research and consultation around what these issues are. Creating that regulation, but there also needs to be partnerships with financial institutions so that there's actually alternatives to what a lot of the products that people are using right now, like payday loans. So these are, as you can see, lofty objectives, but we look forward to chatting with you guys about these over the course of the conference. We know that they're not an exhaustive list of all the things that you're working on, but they are things that we think are relevant to individuals and this movement across the country. So over the next 2 days, we're looking forward to working with all of you collectively to build this financial empowerment field and find new approaches to build the financial well-being of Canadians living in poverty. Thank you very much and enjoy the conference.